Hi, welcome to the story Broken Trust, a Family, the Police, and a System in Question. Part 2 Betrayal, Online Exposure, and the First Arrest. The $40,000 betrayal had nearly broken him, but the husband pushed forward. He told himself he could forgive, for the children's sake. Yet what came next in his marriage wasn't sudden. It was a slow unraveling, a daily grind of conflict, abandonment, and humiliation that hollowed him out piece by piece. Questions that became battles. The strain began in the smallest moments. After a long day of scrubbing and lifting at work, the husband would come home, hang his jacket, and try to engage his wife with a simple question: "How was your day?" It was not an interrogation, just an attempt at connection. But instead of warmth, he was met with hostility. Her reaction, he said, was always the same. "Stop questioning me." What should have been a brief exchange turned into shouting, slamming doors, and explosive arguments. A casual inquiry about her mood, her work, or her plans could spiral into hours of conflict. "I never knew what would set her off," the husband recalled. "One second I'd just be trying to talk to her, and the next she'd be screaming that I was controlling her." Nights of abandonment. Arguments often ended the same way, his wife storming out of the house, leaving him behind with the children. Sometimes she would be gone for a few hours. Other times, she disappeared for days, one night, 2 nights, even 3. Each time, the husband was left to juggle childcare, the household, his cleaning business, and his full-time labor. He cooked meals, did the school runs, and rocked the baby to sleep alone. By day, he was scrubbing toilets and vacuuming offices. By night, he was bottle feeding, folding laundry, and collapsing into bed beside an empty space. What tormented him most was the truth he later uncovered. While he was home holding the family together, his wife was out having sex with other men. That was the hardest part, he admitted. Not just that she left, but that she left me to do it all while she was with someone else. I was trying to be a father and a husband, and she was living a life without us. An anger that consumed everything. During a heated argument in the bedroom, the husband and wife were yelling in each other's faces. Trying to defuse the situation, the husband turned his back and began to walk away. At that moment, his wife took a phone charger and stabbed it into his back all the way in, as if she had plugged the wall end of the charger directly into him. Despite the severity of the attack, the husband did not call the police, fearing that involving authorities would only make the situation worse. He described this incident as part of a broader pattern of aggression, leaving him constantly fearful in his own home and feeling unsupported and trapped by the circumstances. The instability was not confined to the home. The husband described his wife as having a hair-trigger temper that extended to every aspect of her life, especially behind the wheel. She couldn't drive 5 minutes without screaming at someone, he said, swearing, road raging, cutting people off. But what unsettled him most were the Snapchat posts he later discovered. One post showed his wife and her close friend apparently using drugs together, openly flaunting reckless behavior online. Another post, even more shocking, showed both women sitting in the front seats of his car, grinning at the camera while holding bottles of Cruisers, a brand of vodka-based alcoholic drink. The caption, written across the photo, read, "School pickups are fun now." To the husband, it was more than offensive. It was terrifying. Not only were they allegedly drinking in his car, but they were also on their way to pick up the children from school, both his children and the friends. They were drinking alcohol and driving with kids in the car, my kids, and laughing about it on social media, he said. The post made his stomach drop. To him, it confirmed that her recklessness wasn't just about her temper. It was a willingness to endanger the children for the sake of a joke. Her anger and irresponsibility, he said, were not just frequent, but dangerous. The children often witnessed her tirades, and now, he believed, they were being placed in physical danger. A woman without consequences. To the husband, the pattern was clear. His wife believed she could do whatever she wanted and that she would never face consequences. Whether it was draining his business accounts, abandoning the family for nights, using drugs, posting about drinking while driving, or secretly building an online sex work profile, he felt powerless to stop her. She walked around like the rules didn't apply to her, he said. And the worst part is, the system backed her up. No matter what she did, I was the one who paid the price. The breaking point. His first arrest. The breaking point came while the husband was working night shifts as a prison guard. It was a Saturday night, a grueling 12-hour shift, when he discovered that his wife had gone out partying with friends. He had not been told she was going out, nor did he know where she had left the children. Panicked and angry, he sent her a stream of heated messages. When his shift ended Sunday morning, he returned home to find his children safe, but his wife absent. Exhausted, he managed 2 hours of sleep before being forced to take his children with him to clean an apartment for his side business, with no other options, since his wife had blocked his number and remained missing. That evening, he was meant to report for another 12-hour prison shift. Instead, at around 8 p.m., police officers entered his residence. The husband was in his room, speaking to a friend on the phone, when they burst in. His children, who had just finished dinner, sat watching from the lounge. The officers, he said, grabbed him aggressively as he lay in bed. They attempted to remove him from the house wearing nothing but underwear. Only after his protests was he allowed to dress. He recalls the humiliation vividly, his children staring, confused and afraid, as police handcuffed him, injuring his left wrist in the process. But what burned deepest was the sight of his wife's friend, standing outside the house, laughing. He says she had encouraged the wife to file the police statement that afternoon. She's done this kind of thing before to other men, he claimed. 10 days in the watch house. The husband was taken into custody and held at the Cairns watch house for 10 days. Those days, he says, were some of the worst of his life. He was isolated the entire time. Showers were permitted only a handful of times. Toothbrush access, he said, came just twice in 10 days. He was allowed into the exercise yard for only about 4 hours total across the entire period. Worse, he began experiencing chest pains, repeatedly alerting staff through the intercom. I told them over and over I needed to see a doctor. I was terrified something was wrong with my heart, he recalled. But staff dismissed his concerns, attributing them to anxiety. No nurse or doctor evaluated him. They're not medical experts, he said, but they played doctor anyway. If I'd had a heart attack in there, nobody would have helped me. The husband emerged from the watch house not only humiliated, but disillusioned. A growing sense of betrayal. That first arrest left him shaken to his core. It wasn't just the betrayal by his wife, it was the betrayal by the system itself. He began to feel like he was fighting battles on two fronts, one against a partner who refused to be held accountable, and another against authorities who refused to believe him. From his perspective, gender had sealed his fate. If the roles were reversed, because I was the man, nobody wanted to hear my side. I was guilty before I even spoke. Alone in the silence, in the weeks that followed, the husband's despair deepened. He carried on for his children, feeding them, getting them to school, tucking them in at night. But inside, he was hollow. He often lay awake after they had gone to bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying the arrest in his mind. He described feeling not just like a failed husband, but like a man erased, unheard, unseen, disbelieved. Part 3 will examine how the collapse of the marriage, restraining orders, and the loss of his business culminated in imprisonment, and why the husband now claims that what destroyed him was not just betrayal at home, but betrayal by the justice system itself. Editor's note: these are allegations and have not been independently verified. Thank you for watching, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next part.